Okay. There's a question here in the comments. One of the sisters wants to know: would you consider marrying a full-time doctor yourself? That's an interesting question.
Oh, very good question. I actually wouldn't, and I will tell you. Actually, Mehdi, do you want me to tell me what I think or what you think first?
What you think, not me.
Okay. Why me personally? Medicine, being a doctor, is not an easy. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna. I'd have to consider them wholly as a package, but right now, on face value, someone asked me that question, I'd say no. Why? And this has happened. So people who, yes, that has happened, by the way, and I've said no. Why? Being a doctor is a very, very time-consuming thing. Extremely time-consuming, extremely stressful, extremely competitive environment. Though, of course, it's very rewarding, as everyone knows, and it's very beneficial to the ummah and for people. However, look, what is the duties of a wife? What is the duties of a husband? I, as a man, I have been tasked by Allah. I am responsible for raising the family. I have to go and work. I have to go and get that bread. I have to go and grind and get money and spend it on my wife and my children. This is my duty from Allah. So I cannot slack on this. So it's okay for me to go and, bust myself 9 to 6, 5, so I can provide for my family. Alhamdulillah. The woman, however, what is her role? She needs to understand that her connection to Allah is via her womb. That who she's going to bring up is like one of her main duties, and looking after the husband. As the hadith says, that a woman, she may enter paradise from any door if she does what? Of the things she does is obey the husband, is pleasing to look at, she looks after herself, always trying to look good for her husband, so on and so forth, looks after the family, and so on and so forth. I was raised in that household. Historically, that has been shown to be better. So if you're a woman and a doctor, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. We need female doctors, that's fine. Obviously, when Muslim women go to the hospital, they need sometimes female doctors. But me personally, as a doctor, I'm going to be very busy myself. When I come home, I want to come home to my wife. I want to come home to someone who has, been waiting for me, excited to see me. I want to get away from work. I don't want to come back to more doctor kind of life. And so that's point number one. Point number two, I'm going to be exhausted when I come back from work. If she's a doctor, she's going to be exhausted too. And when she's exhausted and I'm exhausted, that's not a very good combination. That's not a very good matchup. What the woman needs to be is very energetic, and the man, if he's exhausted, well, men always find energy, if you know what I mean. So from that aspect as well. 3, Tayyib, who's going to look after the kids? No, genuinely, people don't, they just don't understand this concept. Who is going to look after the kids? I have to go and work. I have to go and work to provide for you and the family. Of course, I'll do it, alhamdulillah, because I love you and because Allah has commanded it. Tayyib, who's going to raise and who's going to make breakfast for our young daughter and son? Who's going to take them to school? Who's going to make the dinner and so on and so forth? We need to eat. Do you know what I mean? So someone has to do it, and it's definitely not me because I'm at work. So it's going to have to be you. And yeah, I mean, there's many other points, but Mahdi, I'm sure you can elaborate on what I'm trying to say.
No, I wanted to hear what you said. The question was for you, Akhi. You're the doctor, bro, not me. Allahumma barak. You're the doctor. I think this is a good question for the sisters to ask from a man who's about to become a doctor himself, because
go
on.
Is someone who can elevate me. Okay? And
tell me what you mean by that.
I'm not saying you can't do that as a doctor, but I need someone who can complement me. So say I'm going to be very tired after my long shifts. I need someone who's going to be very, very energetic. Say I'm very, what's the word? Basically, I need someone who can support me, to listen to me and make my life easier. How are you going to make my life easier as a woman? Okay? That's simply it. Because this is what Allah has tasked us with. The men are the providers. The men are the one who have to go out and grind and so on and so forth. Your womanly role, truthfully in Islam, is a supporter of the man. Is a supporter of the man. And it's a very noble thing. The mother is the glue of the family. Without the mother, the household can crumble. I don't know how, the mother supports everyone, yani. Yeah, I don't know. She's just the glue that holds everyone together. It's a very noble role and the best role. So don't listen to anyone in the West who tries to sell you this feminist mindset. Being a mother, and in fact a housewife, is by Allah the best thing that you could ever do for the success of your family. And the success of your family is what builds a strong community, and a strong community builds a strong country, which builds a strong ummah. It all starts with the family unit, and the family unit.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you gave credit to the role of a housewife. I think what's happened is a lot of women housewives over the years, over the decades, have either felt belittled or have actually been belittled by their husbands for the role that they play as a housewife. Meaning, oh, look at you, what do? You just cook and clean. Oh, well, you just with the children. What? I'm the one who goes to work. I'm the one who works all day long. And this is wrong, by the way. And I have to say, I have to chastise the brothers here. This is wrong, because not only is it patently untrue, but her job, her role is actually around the clock. Your job finishes once you clock out at work, once you swipe out, or whenever you finish, 9 to 5, whatever the case may be. Her job is around the clock. Just the other night, my daughter, she's 6 months old. She was crying the whole night long. And if I was the one who had to be responsible for looking after her, I'd lose my mind. And my wife, the whole night she's with her, she doesn't even shout at her or raise her voice at her, nothing. Just,
may Allah bless her.
Yeah, I mean, she has that natural patience. And this is something women excel. They excel men at, which is that patience for raising and nurturing their children, particularly when they're very young. And to the men who are listening right now, you need to give your wife credit for that role, and don't belittle her and don't demean her, because when you do, that's when we have women saying, fine, you're going to belittle me and demean me for being a housewife? Okay, I won't be a housewife anymore. I'll go out and work full time. You see? And this is the problem we're facing today. Sheikh Shakil Akhtar, I think it's 100 rupees. Female doctors should consider being co-wives. That's a win-win for all. How do you feel about that, Zaid? I think the reason why he's saying that is because female doctors are obviously so busy that they wouldn't necessarily have the time to commit wholly to a husband. But then when they have children, then what?
Exactly.
Then go back to square one.
So, you know, pre-marriage, fair enough. Pre-children, you could say, fair enough. Maybe you can be a doctor because I'm at work, you're at work. As long as you get home before me, it's all right. But what about when there's kids? And those kids are growing up, and then you get another child, and then you get another child. That's potentially 10, 15 years. How are you going to look after them as a busy full-time doctor? It's very stressful. A lot of people don't understand how stressful it is. You don't want to bring that stress home to your husband. You don't want to hear your nagging, and you definitely don't want to bring it home to your child. Your child needs that love. But sorry, what was your question? Co-wives, doctor, what?
Should female doctors consider being co-wives, meaning a second wife or a third wife?
If you wish to do so, and you're happy to be a second and third wife as a doctor, then go for it. Like, I don't see a problem with that. Yani, but I am not married, and therefore I do not have that marriage experience, so I can only comment on what experience I have. Mahdi definitely has more experience with me regarding that, so I'm sure he can give more insight.
I mean, you see, it's a double-edged. There's actually a number of things to consider, and I'm sure that the female doctors, Muslim doctors, reading that would be absolutely offended, like to the nth degree. So let me provide a bit more clarity there. So, of course, you've got the issue that Zaid mentioned, which is you're committed to your profession. You're married to your profession, essentially. How much time do you have for a husband after that? That's the first thing. The second thing is that a female doctor, well, she's a female, she's a woman. She's the one who's hypergamous, which means what? She's the one who's looking for, most likely, at least the doctor as well. Very rare you will see a female doctor marry a janitor or marry a truck driver. It's very rare. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying it's going to be like, for her, she's going to be settling, you see. But now her male counterparts, the likes of Zaid, for example, and the other doctors, male doctors, the problem is she is in competition with all the other women who want the likes of Zaid and all the other male doctors. Why? Because that's a very desirable man to be with. A man who has that type of profession, that status. Who doesn't want to be married to a doctor? You hear it all the time: doctor, engineer, lawyer, right? So now she is in direct competition with all those other women. So, I mean, I don't know what I can say to the sisters. May Allah make it easy for you, to be honest with you. Saraha, me personally, I'd never marry a doctor, especially one who's practicing her profession I'm talking about. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't. But someone's got to marry them, you know, and may Allah make it easy for them.